It's time for Positively Kansas. Coming up, we take a ride with some hot rod mamas. They're shattering stereotypes and taking to the open road. Also, creating visual art without vision? Yes. You'll meet a blind painter who cannot enjoy what he creates, but we sure can. And he has something to teach us all. Plus, this Wichita man has created his own fitness program that cleans up the neighborhood in the process. I'm Sierra Scott. Half hour of information and inspiration is queued up and ready to roll in this edition of Positively Kansas. The image of the rough and rowdy motorcycle gang is getting a makeover. A group of Kansas women have their motors running and they're heading out on the highway. Our reporter Chris Frank went along for the ride.
It was an opportunity for women to come together. Women ride differently than men. We don't hot dog it. When we go someplace, we're looking for someplace to shop or eat.
These are members of the Chrome Kitty Motorcycle Club of Wichita. And yes, as you heard, they're on their way to a restaurant for a Saturday brunch.
So what's Chrome Kitty?
It is a fabulous all-female motorcycle club.
Janice Friedman founded the club in 2004. Friedman got the itch to get her own Harley Davidson after seeing women riding Harleys while on a trip to Wyoming. Before long, she was riding with a few friends and says she realized this.
There wasn't anything for just women.
So the all-female club formed and had 31 members the first season. They have 43 members now. One can't help but notice all the patches on their vests and jackets.
Well, you know, we just pick them up from our adventures, our trips. It's just kind of a fun way to express yourself. Sometimes they're gifted to you.
The members pick up riding nicknames. Gibbs is Boom.
You're looking this one right here. Boom, that's my road name.
It's almost time to ride, but not before they pray.
Heavenly Father, as we climb astride our bikes, we ask you, God, be at our side. Keep us alert throughout the day. Guide us safely along the way. Potholes, debris, and twisty bits, oil, gravel, and most importantly, those dimwits. Lord, protect us from each one until my ride this day is done. While the engine accelerates, let us ride as friends, as sisters, that when we stop in city or town, let me not forget to put my foot down. In Jesus' name, amen.
The Chrome Kitty Motorcycle Club has an April to October riding season. The group rides are once a month, alternating on Saturday or Sunday. Riders participate in at least 2 rides annually to stay active members. The group used to go through the alphabet to pick what towns they went to. A for Abilene, B for Beaumont, C for Council Grove, and so on. It took them several years to get through the alphabet. And oh, by the way, X was for Xenia, Kansas, not far from Missouri. Most of the rides are 100 miles or fewer, but occasionally they'll do out-of-state overnight trips to Colorado, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Most of the members are from the Wichita area, but not all.
I'm from Canton, and that's in McPherson County. I live in Minneapolis, that's Ottawa County.
And 2 members live in Oklahoma City. Motorcycle clubs in America date back more than a century to the earliest days when motorcycles were barely beyond being bicycles with motors. The New York Motorcycle Club is recognized as one of the earliest, forming around the beginning of the 20th century. Some clubs are motorcycle brand specific, BMW clubs, Harley clubs, and so on. And there have been women bikers all along the way, but male riders have dominated the ridership. However, a Motorcycle Industry Council survey shows in the last decade, women riders have increased from 10% to nearly 20%, and even by a higher percentage amongst generations X and Y riders.
I was looking for a group of women to ride with. It's more empowering. It's just something different about riding with women that are just like you.
The riders think of each other as family.
This is my other family. They're like sisters, and I know that they would be there for me for anything at the drop of a hat.
That familial connection and close friendships formed are common threads heard amongst these chrome kitties.
The camaraderie, the lifetime friendships that we've made, just knowing that you've always got someone to call on if you need anything. These girls are family.
Out here, they ride in a pack. They could be riding on the interstate freeway, but the less traveled highways bring them closer to the pastoral Kansas scenery. Out here, they keep safe distances from each other while catching glimpses of Kansas farms or small towns they go through.
We never stepped outside of Kansas when I started, but now we do step outside of Kansas and go to the different states, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great experience.
It's a beautiful day today.
On this trip, the women bikers visit Buhler. Buhler is a quiet Reno County farm community northeast of Hutchinson. There's no need to be surprised to see a hay swather being driven down Main Street. A bike ride on Main Street is more likely for leisure than with a particular destination in mind. On this late summer Saturday morning, the quietness of this farm community transitions to the distinctive rumbling sound of the pack of Harley-Davidson motorcycles as the Chrome Kitties arrive for a breakfast gathering. There are a lot of stereotypes of bikers, including the stereotype of being violent, gang members, dirty, reckless, and more. But this reporter's observation is these kitties don't fit any of those.
I am a mom of 5 kids. I have 9 grandkids, and it's just something that I have always enjoyed.
The club's most senior member, Catherine Langer, didn't start riding until she was 50. She's 71 now.
I am now the oldest Chrome Kitty, and I've been a member since 2004.
We have a lot of great stories from rides.
With each adventure comes new experiences, which become the basis for new stories to tell and retell at the next stop.
We run into trouble everywhere we go, and we're a lot of maintenance for people at restaurants, but we keep going back and we have a great time. We're loud. That is you!
How did you know she had that? It's always been a men's world as far as the bikes go, and I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that there were other women that wanted to be part of a group. A little hesitant. Women can be, sometimes we can be fussy, but these ladies are absolutely incredible, every single one of them.
Now, I said there were biker stereotypes these riders don't fit. However, when it comes to clothes, there are some commonalities. Leather clothing is in abundance for warmth and safety.
You asked me if it protected you from the pavement, and it absolutely does.
She knows from the experience of sliding on the pavement. Now, you may think there are enough bright lights and shiny chrome for the riders to be noticed, but even when these kitties are stopped, their bling almost demands attention. For example, plain bandanas simply won't do.
You don't hardly ever see a woman with a bandana on that isn't completely blinged out.
Still riding.
Kim Jones saw bikers wearing the bandanas to keep their hair in place, then added the sparkly bling and made a business of making and selling them called Kimdanas.
Now it's a fashion comment.
Friedman started the group, hence her writing name is Queenie as the leader.
I was the last person that anyone would have ever guessed would have gotten on a motorcycle. I just wasn't that girl.
A Miss Prissy, she says.
Everything had to be perfect, perfect hair, perfect nails.
Friedman worked as a human resources director and later as an office manager for a Wichita law firm.
So I dressed very professionally.
But riding down the road on a big bike, well, let's just say it's influenced her.
I'm still the same person. I still, it's just a different side of me emerged that I didn't know was even there. And I think that's what a lot of these girls would say, is they didn't even know that side of them was possible until they learned to ride.
She doesn't mind, she says, if the hair blows a little now. She's found something new, which she says goes for the other club members also. It's family, friendships, and fun, with the adventure of seeing towns and stopping at restaurants they may not otherwise have a reason for visiting.
It's the journey. It's the being together, it's the fun along the way, and a lot of food.
So if you see this pack on the road, as you would for other cyclists, allow them some space for safety. After all, they're someone's grandmother, mother, sister, and friend. They're the Chrome Kitty Motorcycle Club. This is Chris Frank for Positively Kansas.
The Chrome Kitties also hold charity events and do what they can to promote motorcycle safety. Our next story is about art that goes beyond seeing because, well, the artist is blind. Internationally known painter John Brambett gave Kansans a hands-on education that opened their eyes to what visually impaired people can do. Anna Spencer shows us what happened.
For 11-year-old Nora Johnson, today's art encounter was like no other. Nora, along with her mother and grandmother, traveled from Derby for the Envision Arts Gallery Multi-Sensory Art Workshop with John Bramblett.
It was amazing because he can't see, but he can feel what he's doing, and his artwork's just amazing too. So it was really cool to see his artwork and how he does it and stuff.
Amazing is just one of the many words used to describe the renowned blind painter. Innovative is another. Bramblett introduces workshop participants to his own unique style of painting.
Oh my goodness. I have to wait for things to dry to touch and make sure I did what I think I did.
As a blind artist, he incorporates a variety of textures into his work, but that's just one part of the process. Bramblett also guides participants through various art techniques with plastic ducks, blindfolds, jelly beans, finger painting, and more. It's a multi-sensory practice that includes touch, taste, sound, and smell as part of the creative process. The workshop is offered for artists of every age and skill level and includes adaptive techniques for those with disabilities. Bramblett says his art is all about connecting with others.
Painting is a way for me to connect with people. Painting's my eyes. It lets me understand what's going on around me and lets me take in the world. But it's also my mouth where I can actually reach out and connect with people. When I first started painting, I never thought anybody would ever see a painting of mine. I thought my life was over really. I had no hope for anything. My health was really, really bad. And then, flash forward to now where people and we're laughing, we're having an amazing time. And it's just, every day to me, I have to pinch myself because I get to do something that I love and with people that I love.
Through vibrant colors and textures, the Texas artist paints a world he can no longer see. Surrounded by his exhibit Tactile Emotions, participants learn of Bramblett's health issues and how he lost vision in his mid-20s. As a result, Bramblett created his own painting methodology and has an expansive career as a painter and muralist. His inspiring story and remarkable talent make him a perfect guest artist for the Envision Arts program and gallery.
He embodies really the mission of Envision, which is envision the possibilities. And once you give someone an opportunity to share their story through the creative process or any other way, that it creates a stronger, more diverse, more inclusive community.
Kephart says the mission at Envision Arts is to improve the quality of life and provide inspiration and opportunity for people who are blind or visually impaired. Events like today's workshop help bring awareness while showcasing talented artists to the community at large. This type of engagement benefits all involved.
Learning some new techniques and having my own senses made aware of things, because, you know, I was a little hesitant even starting out the drawing and thinking I'm not very artistic. It turned out okay.
For today's participants, the workshop invited them to step out of their comfort zone and experience art through all 5 senses, with Bramblett reminding them that the creative process truly has no limits. In downtown Wichita, I'm Anna Spencer for Positively Kansas.
Bramblett has sold artwork to people in more than 120 countries. He's also received 3 Presidential Service Awards for his innovative presidential workshops. It's been known that exercise plays an important role in good health. When Wade Broden's doctor told him to get his rear in gear and get more active, well, he took it to heart. And he found a way to make it fun and beneficial for the environment, too. Here's Anthony Powell with the story.
It was fun. I got to where, you know, if I didn't walk, I wasn't as happy.
Larry Hatteberg caught up with Wichitan Wade Broden about a year after Wade made a life-changing decision. He was in bad health.
I had a doctor's appointment, and he told me I was type 2 diabetic and I had high blood pressure.
His doctor told him to start walking, and Wade listened. All these years later, Wade is still at it. Since Larry's story, Wade has trekked close to 5,000 miles. He's lost 40 pounds and has significantly lowered his blood pressure and sugar by walking 3 to 6 times a week.
I've got about 80 routes.
But Wade's walking is only half of his story. When he started to get healthier, he noticed how much garbage there was.
I thought littering went out with the 80s.
Wade decided to do his part and started walking with trash bags. You won't believe the impact he's had on the environment. As of January 2023, Wade has collected 209,000 cans. Of course, he's picked up many other things as well. Money, credit cards, a 2.5-ton car jack, tools, just to name a few.
The things I find in the ditches, it just amazes me. Long story short, each walk is a mini adventure.
A former engineer, he even worked on Air Force One. Wade keeps meticulous notes about each walk on spreadsheets, carefully entering the date, the route, and number of cans found.
Why do you feel it's so important to keep this data?
I'm just crazy. I don't.
At least you're honest.
But it's not all exercise, can collecting, and spreadsheets for Wade. He also likes to have fun with this hobby, like the time a few years ago he heard this famous song.
I am a lineman for the county, and I drive the main road.
I was driving through one of my routes and I heard this song, Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell, and it starts out, I am a lineman for the county, and I thought, well, I'm a can man for the county. And that just started me thinking.
And soon, Wade wrote his own song. His wife, Donna, performs it.
I am the can man for the counties, and I walk the dusty roads, searching in the sun for another mother road.
While songwriting might be a hobby, walking and picking up litter remain top priorities for Wade. He's a familiar face on his routes.
And I've had people way off in the distance from their porch of their house wave at me and holler at me, "Thank you for what you're doing."
And Wade will never forget a man stopping him in the street and handing him this note.
A gentleman handed me a note, and it had a $20 bill in it. And the note said, basically, "Thank you for what you're doing. It's not much, but hope it helps."
But sadly, Wade says way too many people are still doing way too much littering.
I don't understand it. I don't know why people can't take their litter home and put it in a trash can.
Just makes you shake your head.
I'm disappointed. I wish it wouldn't be that way. I'd like to be put out of business.
But until that day, Wade will continue the journey he began so many years ago, a journey of better health, and a cleaner environment. For Positively Kansas, I'm Anthony Powell.
Broden says he has no plans to slow down because, well, all the litter bugs aren't. And the activity keeps him feeling younger. Fall is when we think of hunting and eating turkeys, just in time for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Meanwhile, Mike Blair says that springtime is actually the most exciting time to observe them in the wild. Here he is with this week's Kansas Wild Edge.
Wild turkeys, the king of game birds. Few springtime sounds quicken the pulse like the gobble of a strutting tom. The bird promenades, turning its feathers this way and that to show off handsome plumage. And if you're lucky enough to see it, you'll take away an unforgettable memory. Kansas has 2 of the nation's 5 subspecies of wild turkeys. The largest are eastern turkeys, found in roughly the eastern wooded fourth of the state. These birds are generally copper-colored, with tail margins a rich chestnut brown. Rio Grande turkeys are found across the western 3/4 of Kansas, where conditions are drier and more open. These birds appear blacker in color with tan tail tips. Both kinds have iridescent body feathers that shine with fiery metallic hues. Male turkeys are known as toms or gobblers. They are larger and more colorful than hens, and mature birds have long beards protruding from their breasts. They also have spurs on their lower legs, an inch or more long, that are used in fighting. Their tail feathers are fully developed, forming a beautiful, even fan when strutting. Hen turkeys are smaller and buff-colored, more camouflaged for hiding in ground nests. Spring is the wild turkey's season of splendor. Loud gobbles dominate turkey habitat as males call, strut, and display to attract hens by late March. By mid-April, many hens begin nesting. Following the morning get-together, these slip away to their chosen nesting sites, being careful to avoid leading predators to the nest. Nest sites are simple ground scrapes with little lining, usually found in heavy cover. The hen lays an egg each day and then resumes her normal daily routine until the clutch is complete. Wild turkeys usually lay a dozen or more eggs before starting incubation. Eggs hatch in about 28 days, usually late May or early June. Unlike most birds that are reared in the nest, hatchling poults spend only about a day there. Poults are able to catch their own food at once, relying on small insects everywhere present in the summer habitat. The hen is sole protector for her family until midsummer, when family groups begin to join into larger flocks. Young birds grow quickly, and outside of inexperience and need for protection, they function just like adults. Though bugs are a protein staple until autumn freeze, seeds of all kinds enter the turkey's diet as summer progresses. Crops like milo and corn are favored throughout Kansas. And the omnivorous diet of turkeys allows constant feeding as the birds eat virtually any plant or animal items they can swallow. Whatever your interest in wildlife, wild turkeys are a fascinating part of the natural world. From thunderous gobbles to beautiful strutting displays to the interesting behaviors of feeding flocks, these large birds demand special attention. There's no better show to help awaken the springtime woods. I'm Mike Blair for Positively Kansas.
Next time, Mike shows us how much fun it is to share the Kansas wilderness experience with children. Speaking of kids and fowl, a North Newton woman has written a children's book inspired by her chickens. Hannah Spencer has the scoop from the coop.
Hi, chickens.
These chickens are busy living their best lives. And that's something to crow about. Nestled behind this North Newton home, you'll find a flock of famous chickens, the main characters in the tales of Mr. Ken Rooster and his 6 sassy hens, written by new children's book author Diane Sorensen.
I've always written a lot of stories, and I had a daughter, and she's now 28, grown up, but I constantly made up stories for her when she was growing up, which she liked. They were pretty good, she thought.
So which came first, the chickens or the book?
Just such good friends to each other.
An avid storyteller, Diane says it was definitely the chickens. She and her husband acquired their feathered friends in 2019, and in 2020 during the pandemic, she had plenty of opportunity to watch the flock while working remotely. The Fowl family make their home here in a custom chicken coop. They also have a covered chicken run and a large backyard to roam in.
Living with the chickens and really being around them, I have been amazed, kind of blown away by chickens and how sweet-natured they are, how much of a system, a family that they are. They communicate with each other constantly. I don't know if you can hear them back there talking to each other. They call each other from, across our big yard. Our rooster has a name for my husband. We both recognize it when he says it. He announces it when he pulls up in his pickup truck. Then Mr. Ken Rooster announces my husband, and sure enough, here he comes.
Diane says the story started to come almost immediately. And while she admits she embellished the chicken conversations, all the stories in her book are true. Soon she was sharing them with her husband, daughter, and friends, who then encouraged her to turn the chicken adventures into a book. She settled on a hybrid publishing model, and the book went to print in under a year. Diane says she couldn't be more pleased. She loves how the project turned out, and especially that the illustrator used photos of her actual chickens to create the drawings in the book. She says there's a lot more to chickens than you might think.
I always like to say the stories kind of wrote themselves because they're sweet, the chickens, and they're hilarious. And there's a lot of humor in my stories, but that's because chickens are funny.
Writing a book took Diane out of her comfort zone, but she says the overall experience has been wonderful. She continues to enjoy her chickens at home and has the opportunity to promote her book both locally and online. The best part, of course, is sharing the joy that chickens can bring with book readers near and far. In North Newton, I'm Anna Spencer for Positively Kansas.
That's a wrap for this week. Please send your story ideas to positivelykansas@kpts.org. I'm Sierra Scott. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.